Some of our 15 children were born naturally organized. Others, not so much. So as they came to be teens, I tried and assigned them specific organizing projects to teach them this skill, right? Now, this sometimes, caused some interesting outcomes. For instance, one time someone took the books in our massive bookshelves, right? And they organized them according to color and size, which made it very difficult to find particular books we wanted to read later on. Another child went into my cupboards and they had all the cans, the tallest cans in the back and the shortest cans in the front, but they were all jumbled together. So I couldn't cook soup without pulling all the cans out to find one can of green beans, right? But there were children that just knew how to do it, right? They knew how to create stations and flows. Now, stations and flows, Sherry, what in the world are you talking about? Let's tackle stations first. A station is a designated place where everything is located conveniently for a person to complete a task. For instance, I have organized this small hall closet in our current home with all kinds of little, stations. On one shelf, I have gathered everything someone might need to tend to an injury. I have hand braces, I have arm slings, I have bandages, I have disinfectants, I have ointments, I have, all the different things to take out a splinter. I have them all on one shelf. That's a station, okay? In another area of the closet, I have a bin dedicated to shoe shining, complete with bottles of dye and brushes and wax and soft cloths and everything you would need, okay? In the large kitchen in our former house, one counter with its upper and lower cabinets was dedicated to baking. We had, a huge kitchen. So one whole length of counter was dedicated just to baking. There was a pull-out drawer that I put my rolling pin and a rolling pin board. I put that in there. Underneath, I had huge buckets filled with my flour and my oats and other things. Up in the upper cabinets, I would have my baking soda, my baking powder, all the different measuring things. Then close by, I had the baking pans, the muffin tins and all that kind of stuff. I had them all in that one area, which made lots of the baking we did very easy. My mixer was on the counter right there too. So anyway, that was a baking station, right? Now, in our current house, we have a hot drink bar. On it is an espresso machine, a regular drip coffee machine, numerous boxes of tea, sugar, honey, freshly ground coffee. We have all that stuff. Now, when we think of flows, we also think of stations, right? But more on a macro level. Okay, in order to create a good flow, one has to do some analyzing and ask some questions, right? So one of the questions might be, what is the best arrangement of our coffee bar so we can enjoy our hot drinks with the least amount of effort, right? So if there's something we use every day, such as a measuring utensil for the coffee, I'm not going to bury that underneath all the tea things. I'm going to have that ready and at hand, right? Now, creating flows is important because it keeps us from wasting time and it also reduces frustration. For instance, in most homes, there is a key rack of some kind by either the garage door or the front door. Okay, this is because if we can discipline ourselves that when we come in, we're going to hang our keys up right there. Then when we go out again, we have our keys hanging up already, so we just grab them and go, rather than searching all over the house for the place we put the keys, or in the bottom of the abyss called our purses, right? Okay, now I keep our most used pantry items close to where we prepare the food. And the least used items, I have them in places further away from the central part of the kitchen. Such as the roasting pan you use like once or twice a year for your turkey, right? I have that downstairs in the basement, actually. Now, I'm always working on creating more flows and more stations. And I can think of stuff I need to get to as soon as I'm off of my my filming. As soon as I'm done with my filming here, I'm going to have to tackle some areas myself. Okay. Now, stations and flows won't work if there is too much junk in the way. And that's why the third part of this video, we're going to talk about purging. And, you know, it's decluttering. It's a popular thing. I think everybody knows a lot about it already. But when you have an entire village of children living in your house, stuff just accumulates like snowflakes in a blizzard. All around me, all the time, there are half-done things, half-done pages of coloring work, and, you know, half-done, let's see, I have used shoes that we just keep shuffling around from one place to another because someone just grew out of them. Or, you know, there's the holy jeans that don't have the holes in the fashionable places. Okay, they're in the wrong places. I have dishes that I'm still using today. I need to remind myself, don't keep the chipped dishes, because you know that you always put those down and go to the next dish and you think, I've got to throw that away. So anyway, that's just part of the purging process, isn't it? Now, when our home becomes too hard to clean and when doing simple things becomes complicated and frustrating, I know it's time to get rid of stuff. That's why I try to purge as I live. I try to get rid of things as I go along. You know, I'm constantly trying to do that. But sometimes that's just not enough. Now, I didn't realize how much we were holding on to until I had to downsize from our last house, which was 3,500 square feet, to this house, which is only 2,400. Now, we were making interstate move, and we had to pay for this huge truck to hold everything that we were going to take with us. So it was really imperative that we got rid of about half of what we owned. Now, it took me months to go through everything before we were ready to even sell our house. I had 5 huge brown garbage bags full of paper trash that I got rid of. I actually had to use my my shredder for days, just doing the sensitive stuff. Now, there were lots of stuff that wasn't sensitive. We just threw it directly in the trash. But the sensitive stuff, I was shredding and shredding and shredding until that poor shredder was squeaking. Help me. Okay. So, and we had to hire like this special like bag that a truck would come and pick up to get rid of all the items that we had underneath our deck. You know, I mean, I'm being real here. There was just stuff that we had held onto that we needed to get rid of. Now, when we did this, the results were amazing. We felt refreshed. We felt lighter. We felt free. And it's something that I wish I could get back to now that we're all settled into our other house. Now, as I've said in other videos, okay, or in other podcasts, my lifestyle of serious organization is based on the biblical idea expressed in this verse. A man's heart plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. And that's from Proverbs 16:9. There are 2 distinctives with this idea that are part of my serious organization. Number 1, I allow God to help me build these plans and routines so that they flow with His plans. And number 2, I allow these plans and routines to be rerouted or forgotten altogether whenever it is necessary. And I accept this with grace and expectation that God is going to help me keep on top of the log flow of my life anyways. And if you have just stumbled upon this podcast, I hope you will take the time to watch the foundational recording which explains the scope and purpose of this series, and you'll find it linked in the description. Also, be sure and enjoy the freebies and other things on my website, momdelights.com, as well as my Substack as Mom Delights. And if you're interested, I have produced a planner which includes places for just about everything you would need, and it's undated so you can't waste pages, and I'll have that linked below as well, and along with all the other cool things that I have that I produced that you can purchase on Amazon, not on Mom Delights, on Amazon. You can get free stuff on Mom Delights, right? Okay. Until next time, I hope this series has been a blessing to you. And in the future, I hope to address a whole bunch of other cool things. Let me know whether you'd rather it would be about homeschooling or something else. And I will try to include that in my pool of ideas. Maybe I'll write it on a chalkboard. Anyway, you have a wonderful day in Jesus. Bye-bye.